Welcome, Shabathia, Geraldine Sanders, Amy Kunzel is in the wings helping us out. So I just want to say welcome to our relaunch party because we only have a little bit of time to share with you all the goodness that is happening in the work life world. So now I'm going to turn it all the way over to my awesome partner, Geraldine Sanders. Geraldine, take it away.
What you're about to see and what we're about to talk about today, it all comes from an exercise where we wanted to really just listen to you guys. Early last year, before everybody was talking about COVID, we were talking about wanting to survey our work life sites and find out what was going on with you guys out there. What were some of the issues and the challenges and the barriers? And so everything that we have built out and we're talking about today actually comes out of that. So I'm going to do my best here to share. As a result of the survey we did in 2020, we found out that facilitators who've been certified in work life felt very prepared in some areas. They were prepared with this overview scope of kind of the framework of the course. They were prepared with the right tools and resources that Chalmers has provided. They understood kind of the course materials that we had developed. They felt really strong in the facilitation skills. They felt confident with the biblical foundation piece. But there were some other areas that facilitators were telling us they were struggling with, some things that were not going so smoothly once they got home. So one of the big ones was recruitment. How do we find participants and allies and keep a program going? Like, we did all this to get going. How do we keep it moving? They told us they were struggling with marketing. How do we create materials and messages to communicate to the right people, the stakeholders and the participants in the community? Like, we got all of this in our heads. How do we share that messaging with other people? They told us they would struggle with networking, similar to marketing, but this is like, how do you get churches, community organizations, volunteers, and businesses really united around a common vision for work life? And then those complex issues that we talked about, participants who had traumatic pasts, substance abuse, consequences of their incarceration. Like, it's not just simple giving them information. Lack of access to jobs. So once we go through this class, what if there's nobody who will hire them or who will give our participants a shot? So how do we know what to do with folks upon graduation? And then another area was just, how do we adapt the curriculum appropriately for our various time constraints or contexts where we live? Like, everybody is coming with a specific framework they've got to fit work life in. And so they didn't always feel prepared on what to do. So everything that you are going to see that Shay is about to share comes as a result of these best practices. We looked at what you said, we looked at some best practices, and this is what's driving the redesign. So what's going to be happening over the next 3 to 5 years of work life? First of all, we are moving from a focus on facilitator certification to site certification. You're going to hear this a lot today. We are going to be talking about how to prepare a full multifunctional team that can work together rather than just having one facilitator who's like now got to do all of these things that we talked about. The world showed us, we were on the fence about whether we should stop doing in-person training, whether, we could make it more accessible by having a distance learning course. Well, God definitely made it clear last year, like, we need to do things where it doesn't require people to travel, but experienced leaders, people who know what they're talking about with work life, can guide new learners, new sites, new leaders in an online virtual experience. So you don't have to put out the money for travel, but you are going to have to invest that time in the training. And when you do, you're not just by yourself on a screen. We learned a lot about how to do some relational integrated online courses this past year. And so we're trying to bring together the best of both worlds. We are keeping the deep theological underpinnings that is key and core to all of our curriculum and training. This kingdom focus, this understanding relational focus, and God creating the imago Dei in people. All of that will still be there, those theological foundations, but we're adding even deeper insights and more practical steps to help you make that real and live that out in local customized ministries. Like, so everybody is made in the image of God, but what if they've got this criminal past? What if they're struggling with trauma? So we're going more in our training to address those kinds of things. And then the other shift we're making is expanding beyond just a moment in time focus on the training and trying to lengthen the amount of time that we're engaging with our leaders in before training, during training, and then a longer timeline of after support training afterwards. So this really tries to get at making sure, do people really know up front what they're in for, what is going to be involved, all of these different roles, all of these different people you need on a team, making sure people are solid in that before they then jump into the training, and then focus on training not just the facilitator again, but people who need to play these other roles, and then what happens afterwards. And so Coach Shay is going to share some really exciting things, is going to walk you through, let you catch a glimpse of what that's going to look like. But I will say one of the things that we have learned over the years in doing work-life trainings and faith and finances as well is that sometimes people need to really have an opportunity to understand upfront and build some momentum and get their team together, make sure they're connected with their target community before they get into a training. And so we have actually created a free introductory course for work life that anybody who goes to our website can sign up for. And they walk through like, okay, this is what the curriculum is dealing with. Oh, these are the people that I need to get on my team. Oh, this is what it looks like to do holistic ministry. So that's one of the first things we're doing to try to make sure that when people get to the training, they're not overwhelmed. We've already front loaded some things before they put down any dollars. They understand what they're in for, and they know like either we're ready for this or we're not. And so when we send out the notes, afterwards, we can make sure you all have the link so that you can see the intro course and you can begin to share that with people, and maybe even go through and look at it yourself, if it's a good refresher. But so those are some of the things on the front end. And now I'm delighted to hand it back over to Coach Shay, who is going to be the shepherdess, the caregiver, the coach, the cheerleader of all our work life sites out of there. And Shay, why don't you show us some of the things that we have in store?
Okay, so I am going to share my screen. So Geraldine did talk a little bit about the intro to work life, and ministries will definitely have to go through the intro to work life before they can register for the full site certification. And in that intro to work life, you're going to understand that you need 4 key roles. Okay, 4 key roles. I want you to write this down. You need an administrator, a business liaison. Remember, Geraldine talked about making sure that we have employment opportunities for our graduates. Once they graduate your work-life class, we want to make sure that we have employment opportunities. So we know that it is key to have a business liaison as a member of this core team. So you have the administrator, you have the business liaison, you have the facilitator, and then you have the ally coordinator, because we want to make sure that the individuals that are walking alongside the men and women coming through your classes has that individual that is going to walk alongside them. So we want to make sure that they're being poured into as well. And I'm sure you're going to be excited about 2 of the incredible new additions that we added. One is understanding the effects of relational poverty and trauma. When you're in poverty, that trauma, that breeding ground, we wanted to make sure that our ministry leaders were better equipped. And so we've added this lesson specifically so that we could help them understand why people are doing what they're doing, as opposed to, we want them to know more about the person. So we've included the ACEs quiz. That is one of the key things that we've included. And so having our leaders going through the training, taking the ACEs quiz, really show them where they are on the spectrum. Some people were surprised when they went through the pilot as they took the ACEs quiz. They thought they wouldn't have a number. Some of them had numbers and some of them did not. So we want to make sure that our ministry leaders understand that. We also added the medical side of it. So Dr. Nadine Burke is giving us the medical explanation of what happens when you are dealing with childhood trauma and how that follows you throughout your life and how that plays out. And so why certain people have certain behaviors. She's really helping us understand. We also added, because there is one side of poverty that I think people tend to forget, this particular demographic, and that's the community out of the Appalachia community, the individuals, the families out of the Appalachia community. So we also added that because we wanted to make sure that we are addressing some of the issues that some of our leaders from places where there's not a lot of diversity, but the poverty is still prevalent. Another part that I'm happy to say that we're doing every week within this 5-week period is that we have 90-minute coaching calls. I'm telling you, these 90-minute coaching calls were just phenomenal. That is the only word that comes to mind right now, because some of the issues that we're dealing with, they are deep. It causes you to sit in tension. It causes you to rethink some things, and having the opportunity just to debrief about it, discuss it, hear what people are feeling, understanding better how you're being more equipped to deal with this is just incredible. So those of you who have already run your work life classes, you know that we have the classic toolkit. Well, what we've done is that we separated the toolkit into two portions. You'll handle part of it. You'll start thinking through it in the intro to work life, and then it'll carry right on over into the site certification. So it is a truly working document. So we're excited about that. But then we also have navigating the systems. For those of you who have a lot of your participants coming into your class who is justice involved, we believe that this section is crucial. Why? Because we need you to know that there are barriers. There are things called collateral consequences that men and women who are returning home from incarceration are going to be dealing with. And we want to make sure that you have a working knowledge of what those are. What are some of the things that you can already have in place, some of the guardrails that you can already have in place, making sure that you understand what mapping out the resources in your community look like as well. So we're making sure that you understand that, helping you, nudging you to go into your community, tapping and finding, researching those resources that they're going to need to, because it is a challenge. Because we know that 600,000 people are returning home from prison, from incarceration, just the prison system. There are more returning home from jail that we know from the stats, but we definitely want to make sure that you are equipped and showing you what it looks like. So we have an incredible partner. It's called Prison Fellowship. And I'm sure those of you who are involved in prison ministry, that name is almost like a household name if you're in prison ministry. So we have some incredible resources for them, tools that we're going to be delivering as well. And so Geraldine did talk about the post training and the coaching that we're going to be doing after your training with your full site certification. 12 months of coaching that we're going to provide. Ministry leaders, lead trainers, and other ministry leaders are going to be walking alongside you at different milestones of the post training. So we're excited that we're going to be able to give you some mini courses that you can equip the 4 key roles on your core team using the Pathright platform. If you're not familiar with it, don't worry about it. It's easy. You'll work right on through it. I didn't know about it as well. And it's user friendly and you'll be able to work right through it. Going to have some resource, some mini courses for the business liaison, the facilitator, as well as the ally coordinator. So we're excited that we're going to be bringing those tools and resources to you. Of course, we already have a library that is full of wonderful content as well that we're going to be sharing with you too. So definitely we want to just talk a little bit about where we were. Historically, we had been certifying facilitators. That survey allowed us to know that areas of challenge was the business. So people didn't know how to engage the business community. Well, those days are over, might I tell you. I'm so excited that we're very intentional about making sure that you have the tools and the resources to engage your business community, get them on board so that they can not only interview your graduates, but also be a part of your class. So we want to definitely invite them in the class so that they can understand that how their potential employees are being screened, they're being trained, and they're being supported. So we know from the business community, one of the things that they have been challenged with over and over and over is the cost of turnover. And so what we're wanting to do is to make sure that we help them understand when you have a pool or a pipeline of screened, trained, and supported employees, that your cost of turnover, our prayer is, will be decreased and your retention will increase. So we are really being intentional about being in the lab. That's why I have on my nerd glasses today, just for you. So you know that we are serious about staying in the lab, making sure that we are creating and developing the tools and resources that you need for the business liaison. Okay, so that's one of the key roles. And then we want to make sure that you have the right people in the right seats on the bus. So the job descriptions are also going to be laid out for you. We know that it takes more than two people to really, when we say a holistic approach, we know that it takes more than a facilitator to do that. So there you have it. I don't know if we have questions.
Kevin asked, is there still going to be an option for live in-person training? And so one of the things that we are still, like, as we're dealing with the reality of different um, guidelines and things in different places, one of the things that, as we're moving from a focus on individual facilitators to sites, we're going to be asking ministries to not put their resources into travel costs and hotel and food, but to take those resources and bring a team of people. So Shay alluded to this. She showed you the new training platform. Um, it's not all, we can't go into all of it today, but it's not just you alone on a computer and a content, but it's 5 weeks of uh, your team coming together and talking about things. It is once a week getting the live coaching call that Shay talked about. Um, and so we're really wanting people to put their resources in bringing your team together. So you'll be encouraged by, you'll have that same opportunity to meet other people and be encouraged by people from other places, but you'll leave the training with a much more solid core of folks who are able to work together at your own site. Um, and so our trainers are telling us that even though it is a virtual experience, that their relationships are actually very strong coming out of these 5 or 6 weeks that people are spending together, because you actually get to spend more time talking and learning and going deeper than you actually can at a 2-day live event. So we're not saying that we'll never get together ever in person again, but certainly for the cost of what we want to provide, it would be prohibitive to try to get the number of people and the number of resources in one place. We want to expand this so more people can get to it, and we want to be able to bring together more resources. So for now, we are putting all of our resources into a distance learning coach format. Maybe one day down the road, who knows, when we can have some kind of big event. But for now, that is the plan.
There was also talk of revamping work life to fit a younger demographic, such as teenagers. Has that been included? Oh my goodness. I have had that question posed to me since I've been on staff. And I'm telling you, I would absolutely love to get in the lab with a group of people and develop a youth curriculum, because I know that that is so needed. But right now, we're just not in that place. But I am sure eventually down the road we will, because that is a huge need. And we know that you love work life, and work life would be ideal for that demographic. So, not right now, but prayerfully in the future, we will be able to discuss that further. Okay, any other questions?
There's a good one from Nick. He asked about when does the free pre-training go live, and is the 5-week training available at this time? Great question. So yes, the Intro to Work Life course is live on the Chalmers website. When you go to our resources, you go to training, you go to Work Life, you can get the free intro course directly from there. It will take you onto that same learning platform that Shay just demonstrated. You can create an account, but you start it for free. And then the only way that you can register for the site certification is that you have to demonstrate that you have gone through the free intro course. So if you are an existing site like who we're talking to today, you should be able to go through most of those things pretty quickly. There's questions about your community, questions about, looking at what all's involved with relational ministry. The only thing that will be different would be maybe thinking about, are there some other people that you want to bring on board for these other roles? But you could go through that relatively quickly. Ministries who are new to this will probably take a few weeks to work through the intro course. But once you have indicated that you have completed all those steps, then and only then can you register for the site certification. Because again, the expectation is you're bringing a team. You're not just sending one person through.
We are really excited about where work life is going, and what we've seen in the pilot. We had several different types of ministries. We had nonprofits and we had churches going through the pilot. So we are excited about the feedback that we've gotten from them. And we have coaches that are ready to coach you too. So that's exciting. So your 5 weeks is going to be led by some incredible coaches that have been trained, and they've been in this work for many years. So I'm looking forward to working alongside them and empowering them to pour more into our ministry leaders. Geraldine, I don't have anything else except for I am excited to be in this new space with work life, and excited to be in the lab continuously creating and developing more tools and resources to help you feel better equipped.
Amen. I feel like this is going to be a phenomenal year for work life. It's certainly a wide open door for God's people to be relevant in the ministry of work readiness. Goodness knows the last year has done a number on us as a country, but unequally. Certainly, communities that are distressed and challenged are feeling the pain much more than others. And so we really are excited about the opportunity to equip you ministries that are on the front lines with more and better tools and resources. And so I'm really eager to see what God is going to do. So I'm with you, Shay. I'm excited. I'm excited that we have you to oversee and give this ministry the care and attention that it needs. And I just ask you guys to be patient with us. Ask questions. You will undoubtedly think of things that we haven't thought of yet, but we are committed to growing and improving what we're able to offer you, so that you can continue to grow and improve what you're able to offer to your community. So God bless you all. Thank you. We love you. We appreciate you.
Yes,
And we'll be
dear.
talking.
Have a wonderful day. Take care.